Yep.
Call the meeting to order. You have any vacation?
Sure. Father God in heaven, we thank you for this tonight. We thank you for this wonderful day. And I just pray that you be with all these people as we make decisions for the city. I pray that you bless them, bless our community. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have any changes to the agenda?
I don't believe so, but I'll defer to Stacy. Stacy, do you have anything come up today?
Thank you.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Lambert, seconded by Commissioner Hash to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to public comments. This is a time where citizens are encouraged to speak publicly. We request that you state your name and address, speak respectfully, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I'll keep time for you.
I guess I'm supposed to do it here, huh?
Sure.
Sabrina Scott, 814 Second Avenue. I'll get through this in 3 minutes. I have 2 Papillon dogs. Right, one is 7 pounds, another 12. I walk them around my neighborhood on a leash. They both have collars and leashes when I walk my dogs outside, because I believe that's the law. I've been attacked 3 times walking my dogs in my neighborhood. First time the owner was able to voice command to stop the incident. Second time was around the circle over by Sunset Home. Luckily, there was a rock nearby. There was a dog running straight at us. I don't know what breed it was. It was a mixed shepherd, something like 35 pounds. Running straight at us. I didn't know if it was being playful or not, but I picked the rock, threw it at it, turned around and walked off. This Sunday, I was walking through Sunset Park or Sunset Homes parking lot again. That's our route. And one of the visitors there from out of town got out of their car, opened the back door and let out their bull. I don't know if it was pit bull or some sort of mix, but it looked like a bull. It attacked my small dog. It had a small dog in its mouth. I could not. The owner never said a word. At this point, I think they were hoping to see their dog kill my dog, it seemed like, because they didn't say a word. They nonchalantly came over and grabbed their dog by the ears and held onto it. I was trying to pull my dog out of its mouth. I couldn't get it away. So I had a pocket knife in my pocket, luckily, and I had to kill that dog. It was a bloody mess. It's traumatic. It's traumatic now, me talking about it again. I reported it to the police. They came, went to the vet, had my dog looked at. She's going to live. She's okay. Going to be a few weeks, certainly. Spoke to the animal control after that. And I called animal control numerous times for all the goddamn dogs running around our neighborhood off the leash. Frequently. Big dogs. Not necessarily causing trouble, but certainly crapping everywhere and just running around. If my dogs were out, I wouldn't know what would happen. I have other neighbors that have small dogs that complain to me about the same situation.
You have 30 seconds.
I know recently the city commission changed the rules to make it okay to keep pit bulls and chows and those breeds in town. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. What I really have a problem with is the irresponsible dog owners. And the fact that law enforcement is unable or unwilling to do anything about it. I've called animal control 3 times. One time I had a big Labrador. It was a nice, gentle dog. It just came up in the yard, was hanging out. I grabbed his collar, called animal control. They came and got it. They said, "Oh yeah, we know this dog. We know whose it is. He just comes into town to work, brings his dog and lets it run around town while he's at work." Fine. And speaking to animal control, they told me
Your time is up.
fine. Animal control told me that they are fully aware
Did you not hear me?
of the period of lawlessness that after 5 o'clock in the evening,
Sabrina.
they let
Your
their,
time is up.
they let their dogs go. They just let their dogs out, so they know when it's happening. The animal control only works from 8 to 4. Can we not have some sort of change in the time of operation of animal control, so they're out there actually enforcing the law when
Your
it's
time,
applicable?
Sabrina, your time is up.
Thank you.
It's inappropriate.
We're taking some notes and we'll follow up.
I would like it to be known that on a almost daily basis, I receive phone calls from either our city clerk, our court clerk, law enforcement, or Jody when it comes to these. So I would take issue with saying that things aren't being taken care of and things aren't done. In fact, today, someone we've had to deal with on numerous occasions, once again, we had to deal with. So we do take these things quite serious. So
I had to intervene on a dog incident last night walking downtown.
Yeah.
So I understand, and I'm in the same neighborhood, so I guess I don't know if there's any education that we can offer to folks.
we could probably put out something that lets folks know what the rules are, what the laws are, what can happen, you know, I mean, it's not uncommon at this point in time for me to have at least 3 or 4 new cases each month of either dogs at large, dog bites, a lot of, you know, potentially vicious animals and stuff like that. So we're trying very hard. You know, when we passed went ahead and did away with the no breed, we put the onus on the owners instead of the breed of dog. And I think that has been effective, because what I am seeing is 9.5 out of 10 times it is not one of those breeds that would have been not allowed in town. So we're holding the owners, and we are seeing repeat customers, repeat offenders on numerous occasions. And so I have had to ask the judge, and the judge has had to rule. I mean, there've been quite a few times we've had to either have a dog put down or removed from the city. So, you know, it's not something we necessarily want to do, but. You know,
How
as many-
frequently does that happen, that you either have one put down or taken from the city?
I would say last year, we probably had to put 2 down. And I bet you we had 4 or 5 that had to be removed from the city. And I have them removed from the city when essentially what it is I will get a hold of those people, because especially when it's these animal situations, there is a relationship there. So I end up talking to those people. Megan ends up talking to people, sometimes numerous times. And what we will do is, in a situation where the dog's at large or it's been growling, it hasn't necessarily bit somebody, we will say your dog needs to go somewhere else before they're reached the point where we're gonna have to put that dog down. The problem is, and I don't think people understand, when a dog bites, most rescues will not take that. When there's a documented dog bite, they will not take them. We have tried, they're like, we want nothing to do with that animal, it's already shown a propensity to bite. We have some people here in town that's their sole companion, is that dog. And so we've tried to work with some of them. I mean, in fact, today, we take another dog. It was an individual who that is just their sole companion, but they can't control that companion. So, I mean, we've had times where people haven't been happy because it hasn't, you know, maybe something hasn't taken. I received absolutely no report of anybody stabbing and killing a dog, so I don't. That's insane.
The information I got is the dog was stabbed. The people are from out of town visiting a resident, son's at home. And they opened the door, she was walking by with their dog, and the dog jumped out of the vehicle and went after and did get a hold of her dog. But before law enforcement could get there, these people are from out of town, so we have no idea who they were connected to at sunset. But they left the scene and disappeared. So
We don't know if that dog actually.
No, we know it was stabbed, but we don't know about what harm came to it.
Because Jody usually does a good job. She has my cell phone, so she calls after hours if she needs to. Had something like that taken place, they would have let me know, because we would have ended up in court on that as well.
So do they get fined or?
It depends on the situation. Generally, there's a fine. What makes this complicated is that a lot of the times what happens is, and we work with those folks, but you know, that dog will then be taken to the pound. Now, we've had some issues with, should we take it to the pound? Should we not? I now have it where I'm like, well, you can't make that decision. You're going to call me now. And so they call, and a majority of the time, whether they like it or not, she has to take it in. And especially, so if a dog does not have its rabies shot and there's a situation, carte blanche, it's going in. Okay, it's going in, it's going to be given its rabies shot, and then we will deal with it from there. Most times if there's a bite, the dog will be taken to the pound, and it will at least be held until the following court date, so that we can deal with it then, because they'll probably have a ticket written. So sometimes there's a fine, most of the time what happens is there's a fine, but then also there's the cost of having the dog out of the pound. So for some of these people, it's becoming difficult, but also it's a deterrent, like, hey, you gotta have to control your dog, or there's gonna reach a point where you can't afford this anymore. However, for lack of a better term, there's a pretty short leash when it comes to these tickets. So, I mean, we don't really mess around because, when everything was changed, it was put on us in the municipal court to make sure that this stuff was enforced. So we've been doing that. I'm confident.
Does it put out somewhere that there is like a leash law? And don't we have like an ordinance or something for a leash? Okay. Probably pretty public knowledge.
Yeah.
that there's
Yeah.
a-
So like when they would come in and get dog registration, they would be pointed to the full text of the ordinance. They would be given something that shows, what the basic laws are. The ordinances out there on the city website, very easily accessible. You can go to the city website, go to the government tab, go to codes and ordinances, and it's right in there. On one of the tabs on the side that says animal control ordinance, and everything is very clearly laid out.
Okay.
So most of the ones that you're dealing with just tag,
Generally,
so they would have gotten this ordinance.
it's kind of half and half. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. The ones that aren't tagged are usually those owners that are pretty irresponsible, and we see them quite a bit. The ones that are tagged are, we just have situations where it's like, my dog got out.
Yeah.
Or my dog got out and got into the neighbor's chickens or the neighbor's rabbits or whatever it may be. Those folks will admit to it, pay a fine. They're usually tagged and there's not an issue. So we it's one extreme, it's one or the other. Or we have somebody who dog's not, doesn't have its shots, doesn't have its tags, not properly, and I mean,
They're just irresponsible.
and we've had to battle with folks, and we've been burned too. I mean, I've given people a chance to fix the situation, put up a fence, do whatever, and they simply just haven't done it. And so then we have to take action from there. So,
Well, I appreciate it. There are some smaller surrounding towns where it's dangerous to walk outside.
Yeah.
And I just do not want our community to be one of those.
Yeah.
And it's something scary how many times that happens.
Yes. And that's part of the effort when we went to address this would be to help provide and ensure the safety and addressing the behaviors that caused it rather than the breed.
Any further public comments? Okay. If not, we'll move on to our action agenda, the minutes of the February 16th, 2022 meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the February 16th, 2022 meeting.
There's a motion by Commissioner Wentz, second by Commissioner Belvin to approve the minutes of the February 16th, 2022 meeting. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Moving on to appropriation ordinance number 4.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 4.
Second.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Hash, a second by Commissioner Wentz to approve appropriation ordinance number 4. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Moving on to insurance proceeds of 103 East First Street.
Bruno was out today, so we'll take this one. The house at 103 East First Street was requested to, it was a fire damaged house and they had insurance, and so they're following the ordinance that we have in place. We're holding a 15% insurance proceed check because the structure has been 75% or more damaged. So we're asking for authorization of the resolution to create a lien. But we find that the process is made safe and secure, and so we can release that check back to them.
I move to approve resolution 2022-2131.
Second,
A motion by Commissioner Wentz, a second by Commissioner Hash to approve resolution 2022-2131. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Demolition bids for removal of 326 and 330 West Sixth.
On Tuesday, we took bids on the two houses on West Sixth Street that you identified. We had two bidders, and I hope you all got that information. We had two bidders, one from Salina and one from Scottsville. They were at opposite ends of the extreme, I would say. We had estimated 32,000 to do both of them because we knew there was a lot of material in one house that had to come out before it could be taken down. The person from Salina Dell Enterprises had about $3,000 difference between the two in his cost. A little more for that greenhouse than for the other one, which is the way I would have seen it done. Smith Construction quoted the same price for both. And they're lower than I am by almost 14,000, and they're lower than the high bidder by almost 50,000. So, and I've talked to them, they don't see that there'll be any difficulty getting it done. Now, our worst schedule will be if it rains while they're trying to do it, and we can't do the work, but they're proposing to have the work done by April 4th. Which is kind of, I know you've kind of been burned by dates with another demo project. I think that if they get started on it, they should have it done in that time frame. Their worst situation is going to be, it's a very tight spot to work in. And it's very public, and we have to make sure that we protect the public and we keep the spoils from falling out into the driveways and streets and the alley and everything else. So I feel comfortable with their bid, and I would recommend to you that we accept Smith Construction Services for $18,900 to demo the two houses.
I would move to approve the bid from Smith Construction Services for $18,900 for demolition of 326 and 330 West Sixth Street to be paid from TIF funds.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Lambert, a second by Commissioner Belden to accept the Smith Construction Services contract or bid. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
I will send them a copy of the blank contract with the dates and everything filled in, ask them to sign it, then bring it back here for you to sign. Hopefully, we can get that accomplished for the middle of next week. When we get started. Thank you.
Okay, now the Department of Commerce grant agreement for CDBG funds.
You want to do it or?
Nope, you're up.
So we was lucky enough to be awarded CDBG funds for the ladder truck, tune of $560,000. So this is just a pretty boilerplate, I think, contract for their services to administer it. We're still waiting to hear if we're going to get any other grant funding that we're working on, but we want to go ahead and proceed with the CDBG, get that process.
Glad to have been able to get it into this calendar year. I know that there were some concerns. So appreciate the effort thus far. I would move to authorize the mayor to sign the Department of Commerce grant agreement for CDBG funds.
Second.
And a motion by Commissioner Lambert, a second by Commissioner Wentz to approve, to authorize the mayor to sign the Department of Commerce grant agreement for CDBG funds. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Managers report.
I don't have a whole lot to say. Last Thursday, February 24th, we did hold the kickoff meeting for stakeholders for the housing study program. I know Virginia, you were there representing your title company, so appreciate that. We had an attendance, I think, between 20 and 25 people that showed up out of the 50 or so that we invited. So not a great showing, but we did have a good representation of a group there. Our next meeting is going to be March 10th, and it'll be split up into small groups meetings. And we'll really dive into what is the existing housing condition, what's the perceptions out there, what do we think some possible solutions are, that kind of thing, just to get some data back to and perspective information back to the consultant to help inform their recommendations back to us. And then last Friday, we did hold an opportunity for the public to come view the items at the 326, 330 West 6th Street homes, so that they could place sealed bids on them to find out if they wanted items, maybe recoup a little bit of cost for our project. Had a few bids on items, and then those folks can pick those up this Friday between 4 and 6:30. I understand that we had some issues with people going into that area unauthorized. We do have the doors closed. The caution tape around is meant to be a deterrent to people coming in, but those homes, even though they are owned by the city, are not public property for anybody to enter right now, and anybody entering that area that's been caught will be prosecuted as a trespasser. So we just want to make sure the public is aware of that, not to enter that without authorization.
Moving on to staff reports.
Real quick, just wanted to give you an update on the windstorm damage. We have collected $47,000 from the insurance company. They did neglect to pay a couple things that I sent them wording on, so they still owe about $20,000 towards that, but so far they've paid everything without question, including the 5 or 6 poles that were twisted but not broke off. They also paid the full amount for the Christmas tree at the Broadway Plaza, which was $8,600 plus the star on the top. They didn't question anything. They just paid it. So the only thing right now, it looks like that we'll probably be out is our $2,500 deductible. Eric's working with FEMA, and hopefully we'll recoup that.
Just gonna mention briefly that we got the gold award from AAA for our activity in the step enforcement, safe schools and all that. So trying to keep pace with the sheriff's office, but we'll get there eventually.
Any more staff comments?
Mayor Commissioner, I did miss one thing, and tomorrow we will be holding interviews for Public Works Director. We did get several applications, and we will be interviewing 3 candidates tomorrow. So it'll be a long, full day, intense process for them to go through. It's a lot, everything from a realistic job preview test with some interruptions to a formal interview to some time with the public works staff and some time with our department heads. A lot of people involved in it. We appreciate everybody's volunteering to be a part of it. And we just want to make sure that we hire the right person for our team long term. So that's the reason it's an intense process. Hopefully we'll get a great candidate out of it.
We'll move on to mayor commissioner reports. I'm gonna start.
Actually, I guess this would be for Public Works. Notice that the light that was installed at Hood Park for the flag isn't working. I went over and tested the breakers. It doesn't seem to be that being an issue, so I'm not sure if there's some other complication with it.
We'll check it out. Thank you.
Commissioner Hash? We don't have any good shorts.
Speaking of the park, it reminded me that in Toodleville, or whatever it's called,
Town.
yeah, the hammers for the musical instruments need to be worked on. Oh, yeah, that's why when I said it, Cloudville, sorry.
We can't do anything about
No, no.
Commissioner Belvin?
I was just gonna tell Chief, great job on the award. I've seen that announcement today. Yeah. And then I keep forgetting to mention that I did see Chief Voss in action at an event, and it's very humbling to see how well they work together and how the public works. It was at a wrestling event, so great job there. It was a couple months back, but thank you for all you do. That's all I have.
And I don't have any. No. Anyone's up for it?
I'd move to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?